Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, good evening everyone. You are welcome again to this new geopolitical conference dedicated to world news, top stories, international news. The European Union has just made an admission which traumatizes the world. The Ukrainians, the citizens themselves, are overwhelmed. The world beyond the Western Kingdom is outdated. She's the head of diplomacy. European woman who has just admitted intentions that were until then hidden of the European Union targeting Ukraine. That is to say, their objective of continue at all costs to support Ukraine to continue the war with Russia. The real objective that was hidden, who never wanted the world you know. That's what she confessed. Today, November 14, 2025, ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, it's a shocking statement. A very serious, very grave statement. Since Kadjas Kallas clearly states that the conflict in Ukraine is more profitable for the European Union. Continuity is more profitable than Russia's victory. I'll explain in a moment. But before going into the depths, I ask you to share the conference to the maximum. It must be shared in all groups as long as you can. Give lots of likes, it helps to secure the conference. And then if this is your first time encountering my conference, click on the button subscribe. Subscribe, it will ensure you never miss the news again. Let's go into the depths. Ladies and gentlemen, she's the head of diplomacy, European, Kadjas Kallas. She stated publicly that supporting Ukraine is a matter profitable compared to the cost of a victory Russian. She seemed to want to do a comparison between the victory of the Russia and Ukraine, the cost that the losses that the European Union will suffer comparatively, aware of Ukraine's continued war, even at the cost of lives, Ukrainian soldiers, and at the cost of their financial bleeding. She added another apostrophe that we'll see right away. But it's so disappointing for the Ukrainians, especially since the Ukrainians have just realized that the European Union, in this famous turn of phrase, supporting Ukraine, where the European Union is beginning to finance, to give amounts colossal, they understood that the European Union had something up its sleeve. The European Union has an interest. Geopolitical factors are behind all of this. So, she said this. I recall Kadjas Kallas. She supports Ukraine is a profitable business. Compared to a Russian victory is in the offing. That's one. She added this. War is lost by someone who lacks money or soldier first. War is lost by someone who lacks money or of soldier first. That is to say, this is against all expectations. At the moment when America admits defeat, states that all options of sanctions to impoverish Russia, to edge, to make Russia militarily, economically, and all plans, all options are exhausted. That's where the Union European, through this head of the diplomacy, Kadjas Kallas, who is very shaved head, who doesn't even want, I don't hear anything about Putin at all. That's when she comes out to say it's a profitable business. The war is lost by the one who has no more money or soldiers first, who lack money and soldiers in first. For the moment, this means war is not lost. Ukraine has not lost the war because they have the money to finance it. even though Europe is facing these serious difficulties. It is necessary to remember, today Europe no longer has more of money. They continue to fund the war in Ukraine. In the end, they didn't, nothing more. But she implies that they have money. They can continue to finance. So she said it's either money or soldiers. We know that Ukraine no longer has any soldiers. NATO elements who came as being officers to train the Ukrainian soldiers, many were truly sent to eternal rest. But many are still there in reserve. Many are currently being transported to the battlefield. So Kadjas Kallas, on behalf of the Union European, therefore believes that they can continue the war. Ukraine must continue until Moscow lack of financial resources or up to Moscow is lacking soldiers. Imagine, it's a dream. This lady is dreaming. The Union European is dreaming. How can Moscow experience a soldier shortage? While during of this second recruitment, Moscow has recruited up to 260,000 soldiers. And Moscow, in fact, I think 2 or 3 recruitment per year. That's what the Russia is doing. So on the financial front, all the sanctions that have been financially imposed on Russia, economically, Russia has succeeded in bypass even the embargo on oil and other things. Russia has bypassed. And moreover, the Russian economy has experienced an explosion, an increase exponential, because the Russian economy, in particular, in the oil sector, Russia has had other openings, such as towards China, towards India, and what other country? Again, where China and Russia are doing distribute quietly at prices quite reasonable, without oil. Therefore, Russia cannot fall. The blame will lie with the European Union. So it must be said that, and the European Union finally recognizes the Ukrainian tragedy. She acknowledges that the Ukrainian tragedy has become a profitable geopolitical business. And when we talk very often here about war profiteers, many think we are exaggerating. But you have the proof right in front of you. So this phrase used by Kadjas Kallas reveals the true thinking of the elites, European, and this real thought, it can be summarized in 3 points. First, prolong the war to exhaust the Russia. That's what's in their heads. Let's prolong the war. Let's not go towards the negotiations. This would allow us to exhaust financially and in terms of Russia is militarily. However, Russia is inexhaustible. Russia has prepared for a war of long duration, what we call war d'usure. Russia is ready. On the other side, and the second element, their real thinking is to sacrifice in Ukraine for interest, strategic directions from Brussels. That's what this sentence reveals. They are ready to sacrifice Ukraine, the Ukrainian citizens, children, women, the sick, the old people, the youth, send them all to the slaughterhouse to satisfy a only interest. Russia mustn't win, otherwise the cost would be too high on the European Union. But Ukraine can never win. The element that reveals this phrase, they want to use the conflict as a financial and political lever. That's all. Use the conflict to finance themselves, to rearm themselves, and then to position oneself politically. So behind solidarity that Brussels has always declared vis-à-vis Ukraine, this declaration confirms that the Union, Europeans, see war as an investment at a return geopolitics. For them, it's an investment. The European Union sees Ukraine as an outsourced battlefield. The Ukrainian dead, the European Union sees its dead as being the price of a political calculation European. So finally, the words she used, such as money and soldier, showed that the European Union think in terms of resources, not in human lifespan. That's what it means to say, whatever the number of deaths over there, it's not their problem. The main point, if their geopolitical calculation match with the prolongation of the conflict, it's okay. Everything's fine. So ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, that was the front page of the news. Thank you for sharing it. I'll be back with new things, information. That was the voice of your humble servant, Robert.